What's up, my precious little pack, and welcome back to Vega Conflict. So a lot of people think I don't use strategy and blah blah blah. I'm not concerned about that, and honestly don't care for using strategy in Vega. The game, honestly, I hardly play it. I'm only in for 15-20 minutes at least twice a day, and then I'm out doing something else. It's not that enticing to play. There's very little to do. It's just, in generally, there's a lack of stuff to do in-game. And if someone says PvP, well, I'm already out the door and walking the other way. And the severest lack of content is rewashed content. We get new cruisers and stuff like that all the time, but that's something that I find quite annoying in the game. We get a rewash of content. You get a new cruiser. It's the exact same setup and everything like that as the previous, except for it's got a few more armor slots, shield slots, and whatnot. Broken weapons to go with it, but it's still, at its core, a cruiser. There's no unique ship types in the game that I can say would honestly make the game any funner. And the reason I'm saying this right off the bat for this video is I'm generally growing bored with the game, but I'm still gonna make content for it, and the reason I just haven't been thinking anything through in the game and just bluntly rushing into everything, I'm just bored. The game has just become a more or less, I log in, I do something, I log out while stuff repairs. But that doesn't mean that I don't enjoy picking something apart strategically and thinking it through. And it can be fun at times, but you do get bored when you get the right strategy down. You just hit the same target over and over, and it just breaks over and over and over. But something else to think about, the game needs fresh content, new content, stuff that isn't stuff that we've already seen before. We get cruisers left and right, they're like the mainstay of the game. So that's alright, that's fine, but it doesn't mean that we don't want new tech. Because even I want to see new tech, don't all of you? Wouldn't the game be more entertaining with a little bit more tech? Be a little bit more entertaining to fight with new ship types that we've just never seen before in Vega? Wouldn't it be just that much more entertaining? Just think about it. Because it occurred to me that the severest lack of content that pushes me away from the game on a day-to-day basis, that I just log in for a few seconds and I'm out again, is the lack of content. That's the big one. The lack of content is just abysmal, to be honest. We have the same ship types we've been using for a very long time now, and they're just not changing. They're the exact same ships they were years ago. We did get the suppressor specialist, and to be honest, it's just a Corvette. It's a pumped up Corvette on some type of steroid or drug or something like that. And before anyone says it's not, it's something new just because it has bonus damage. It's got the same firing arc and everything like that. It's essentially a cruiser and a Corvette mix. It has the cruiser speed, but the Corvette angle of fire, and then it's got the new benefit that makes it a specialist class of doing more damage versus the others. Against squadrons, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it does more damage against squadrons than anything else. But so far, I really do find it disappointing that there's such a strong lack of content in the game. There's plenty of things to hit, there's plenty of stuff to research, and I can honestly say I'm done researching all the researchable weapons again. Every time they bring out a new one, I'm usually done very, very quickly. Hey look, Fury drones. They'll be done very quickly. But I'm getting to the point where I'm running out of stuff to research and stuff like that, and my low-level fleets that I'm building up are slowly finishing. I'm slowly building them and putting them together. But I mean, there's a lack of high-tier or mid-tier content that I could unlock and play with. We need new ship types, period, just to add a little bit of spice to the game. Something we haven't seen before. Something that something that is just different. In general, just different, not the same rewashed stuff we've had. So don't spit a cruiser out or a frigate during the next time and say, it's a brand new ship, we have frigates. And if you say it's a new type of ship and you put it under a different classification, but it is clearly a frigate, I'm going to call you out on it. And it's just, there could be so much more to do in the game. Right now what I do is I log in, help the people in the clan, farm up a little bit of resources or stuff like that, and then I log back off. That's all I do. Literally less than 15 minutes. $5 says this video will be longer than how long I actually play for. But in general, the game is... Alright, let's just do a list. A, we need new content. B, the game needs a rebalance, which has been known since they did their grand rebalance and then they slowly shifted away from it. And C, there needs to be a little bit more player interaction with the main group that develops the game. Specifically the free players. And free players are what make a game run. And now if you're thinking coiners do, no, not really, because coiners just bully the small free players. Well, most heavy coiners do. They gather up and they just beat up the free players and they just go back to their base, stuff like that. But that's what they do. Without free players there, though, the game would get boring for them and they would leave the game. Everybody would. Because, I mean, who wants to just sit around by yourself in an empty void doing absolutely nothing? You log in once, you just look around, you see nobody. You look for miles and there's just nobody. But I can't say that is the state of game at this time. There's still a player base that is around. There's still enough of a player base to keep the game alive, but it's slowly dipping. And I believe that with a bit of fresh new content and not rewashed stuff like we've been getting, it may entice people to play the game again. Give us a new ship type that's researchable, because if you say that we're not researching anything, I'm ready done researching every ship hull. Everybody usually finishes that. We finish everything. The thing we focus on then at this point is upgrading the hulls. The hull upgrades. And I haven't finished much of them. Yeah. I still have a lot to research, but that's the main thing that takes up time now, but we need new hull types, new ships. We need, just in generally, new content, new weapon types for them. Come on, guys. If you want us to keep playing the game, you gotta give us more than rewashed content. Even I know this. And for anyone out there that is also wondering what the clan name is, because it occurred to me that when I did say that I would recruit people to the clan, and I never made the clan recruitment video, I never told anyone what the name was, so if you had to look it up by the name of the clan, you may not find it. If you look it up by mechs, it's capital M, not lowercase. Next up, if you look it up by the name, it's Miscellaneous Survivors, spelled exactly like this. I'll leave this on the screen for you guys for a second. But I intend on growing the clan. It is a PvE focused clan. PvP is not discouraged, but it's not encouraged. And the main thing I would like to do is just gather up the players and just in general have a good time with everybody beating up the AIs. But with that also said, I'd like to see something else introduced into the clans, the alliances, and stuff like that. I'd like to see us be able to do clan-based research projects. So to unlock certain ships, you have to have a clan of at least 4 or 5 people. That way to encourage players to work together. There are so many ideas that could fix the game, but we all know that we're preaching to the choir with this one. And something else that could make the game more encouraging and a little bit more, well, a little less stressful to the player base. Change the commerce module, because I found this a bit of a slap to the face to anyone. You unlock the commerce module, it automatically builds with $10. You could get this for $3 before in the... In what? Yeah, modules down here, and then you could build it right from the modules. And it was for $3. You buy a $5 thing and you get it. So that should change, and I think that they should make it so that anybody can store X number of certain types of resources, so you should be able to store at least, I'd say 500,000, so half of what I've got should be slightly up there in the levels. Should be able to just build a commerce module and slap it down in their base. That'd be another step, because it wouldn't make you a super coiner and make it so that there would be less reason to coin. It's only a few cents a day. That's not going to do much, but it's going to be better than nothing. Next up, they did the base change, and they went through and they redid everything. The general thing was, no matter what you equip on the turrets or anything in your base, it doesn't increase the base repair time over that of what it is by default. So X number of hours for X number of standard health, but you can strap on just about everything else you want without boosting that repair time. Something similar or the exact same idea done for ships would be balanced as well, and I say that because this ship would have a 50-minute or over an hour repair time, whereas if we were to take a look at these ships, by default they have around 17 minutes. That's balanced. That is balanced in repair time wise, but for damage and health there's a great void between the two. And just simply changing it so the fleets and how the individual ships are repaired would greatly encourage your player base again, because it would be allowing people to do a lot more in-game. But keep the build times up, because that's one thing that's a huge problem. The build times, they should stay up, but they shouldn't. We should have more access to time tokens than what we do have. We have a limited number. We can knock off, 36 hours via the Axis and Xeno Division tokens, and let's be honest, everybody, that just isn't a whole lot. That's literally a drop in the bucket when you start building the 1-month builds and stuff like that. So we need to have, during alien decimations and stuff, we need to have unlimited access to time tokens. If we can get the credits, we should be able to buy a never-ending supply of them. We should literally be able to get 9 million and then buy 10 of the 12-hour tokens, just knock off 5 days right off the bat. And changing the repairs would allow players to more easily achieve this, and it would just in general it would encourage people to play a lot more often throughout the course of the day when they're free. But along with that, new ideas would be beneficial to the game. In general, new ship types, new repairs, and stuff like that. Just in general, rethinking the game should be a major priority at the development team. Well, for the development team. But that doesn't seem to be the order of operations. I don't know what the order of operations is there, but here's what it could be and what I would recommend it to be. Think of new content that is brand new. It's not like a mimic of a ship that we've had before. Make it so it's not like the ships we have now. Make it so it stands out. Make it so every ship you build from now on just stands out from the previous, and they just get more and more interesting. And don't forget, we have stuff in the base that we need to research, so this was sat idly for over a year. Actually, no, about half a year. It sat idly for about half a year. I've literally finished everything. There's literally no reason to keep this around other than just to equip stuff on ships. This video, I can guarantee the title is probably going to be this: Useless Things in Vega. And if it's not, it's probably going to be recommendations to fix Vega. Or just recommendations to improve Vega. It's going to be something along those lines. But the game is, at its core, it's still playable to a degree, as I've stated and said before. And with the introduction of the Axis Deceiver fleets, they're stepping back towards the more, if you're skillfully playing, you can actually avoid repair time, which I do respect, and I can say that was a decent decision on Kicksai's part. Because if we play it right, we can avoid all damage. Well, most damage, or quite a bit. But that also, something that occurred to me, that also opens up the gate to taking a step back and looking at a small ship type that became useless with the introduction of alien-related stuff because they're outranged or just destroyed too quickly, and that is the little fleets right here, like these. Destroyers don't have to be a part of it, but you can use frigates again. Strafe frigates would be the best because you'd be able to move backwards and avoid the enemy and keep them at range for a longer period of time. My fitting is clearly incorrect to fight them because it'd be you'd want long range to be able to keep the enemy out of their range and just fight. And with how slow the low-level fleets move, frigates would easily be able to outmaneuver them and just avoid them, and you could easily use researchable weapon types. So if you haven't unlocked any blueprints for any reason, you literally have no blueprints somehow, then you can use your standard weapons that just jump up, and jump up, and jump up. They may not do a lot of damage, but you can still use them. And now I'm just more or less rambling on about miscellaneous things. Let's get back on the point. I said it before and at the beginning, and I'll say it again. The game has a severe lack of true new content. If you slap a new skin and paint job on a ship class, that's not going to make it unique. When you slap green energy weapons on it and stuff like that and it says alien damage, that's a far cry from new tech. That's basically upgrade stuff we already have, but we can't use. Does anyone understand that? We're just getting the same thing over and over again. Doesn't that get a bit annoying or tedious or boring to any of you? And it's very easy to advance in the game. Even now, they introduced the Xeno stuff and all of that. They're not that dangerous. They run you down and they kill you extremely quickly, but you could use glass cannon ships. And anybody who's played the game and knows what a glass cannon ship is will immediately know it's a lightly armored ship with high firepower. It's meant to do as much damage as it can before it explodes. In general, the improvements to the game could be the following. Improved game stability. And yes, I'm calling you out on small bugs or anything that could cause the player to A, lag out, glitch out, or cause any type of disturbance between the player themselves and the server they're playing on. And as a working company, I mean, that should be a top priority of maintaining the game. Especially if you want to keep your income coming from the game. But aside from that, it's also... How could I put this? The game became boring because Kixeye took steps in the wrong direction. That is no surprise. The game could be fixed by taking a step in the right direction, but it keeps going in the wrong direction. Because Kixeye gives misinformation or anything like that, or a study shows this or study shows that. Where are they getting their study information from? Because I've logged in and looked at the forums before. Well, not logged in, I just peek in at times. And for one, I never stay on the forums. It's like some giant cesspool of hate. Or people calling out Kixeye on their major failure with the game and blah blah blah. It's becoming a bit of a joke for me every time I see it. I can't help but laugh a little at how far the game has fallen. And what's worse is the game's going to keep falling. It's going to get worse, and it's going to get worse, and it's going to get worse. And at the point where it is at its worst, it will be at its most vulnerable, and that will dictate whether the game survives or whether the player base completely leaves the game and just utterly ignores it. Because at the core of any game, you have a simple principle. You need a player base, but you need a paying player base within the player base. Without the first player base, the free player base in any free MMO game, you're going to slowly lose your paying customers because those free players and the paying players, in some games they'll team up and they'll have a good time, and it generally encourages more actions like that. Well, that doesn't seem to be the case where Vega is involved. they seem to be backpedaling at a pace that is quite horrific, to say the least. And the fact they haven't fallen over and broken their necks pedaling that fast backwards is surprising to me. Because I've seen games that are a little bit better than this, but they fail horribly in player respect, that they collapse within years of going up. And I do mean within years. I don't mean 4, 5, 6, 7 years. I mean 1 or 2 years. They're still a little baby MMO, and they're just gone. I'm not going to name names because I'm not going to slander their names or anything like that, because they were good games, but they still went under. And a few of them, they had strong new content coming out on a regular basis, which Vega does not and does need, because it is falling behind, and as you slowly progress, you slowly see it, you're losing more interest because you're using the same ships over and over and over again. And to be honest, who wants to do that? I don't. Do you? I highly doubt it. But I think I'm going to leave it here. And I'm going to leave it on this thought. Do you think that if Vega and the development team could actually get their heads out of the clouds and see how bad the game has become, do you think if they start producing new content, not fix the content they already have, but focus on new content and fixing the game's major bugs, and yes, there are major bugs, again, not going to point them out, but fix things that could cause stability issues, disconnect, stuff like that, and generally improve the quality of the game, and just in generally see what they can fix, as well as produce new content, what would you all think of the game then? Just leave a comment below, let me know, and as always, I'll see you all later.